Okay, ready to dive into some seriously mind-bending stuff.
Always up for a challenge.
Today, it's the SourceCube.
Ah, yes.
It's not like a physical cube you can hold,
Right.
but more of a model, a way of visualizing this field of pure potential,
Okay.
where theoretically anything is possible.
Interesting.
We've got notes, diagrams, even some poetry inspired by this concept.
Wow, that's quite a collection.
Yeah, it's like a mashup of quantum physics and creativity.
It's fascinating how the SourceCube attempts to bridge those seemingly disparate worlds.
Yes, exactly.
The core idea is that quantum physics, which often feels abstract and removed from our daily lives,
Right.
can actually illuminate how we create our own reality.
So instead of just observing the universe, we're actively participating in shaping it.
That's the idea.
I'm already intrigued, but where did this SourceCube idea even come from?
It seems to have emerged from various sources, blending ancient wisdom traditions with cutting-edge scientific concepts. There's this idea that the universe isn't just a random collection of particles and forces, but a field of infinite possibilities waiting to be shaped by consciousness.
Okay, I'm starting to see where the creativity part comes in.
Yeah.
But how do we actually interact with this field of pure potential?
Well, that's where it starts to feel a bit like the Matrix.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
The SourceCube suggests we interact with this field through our thoughts, our emotions, and intentions.
Okay.
It proposes that these act as quantum addresses.
Hold on. Quantum addresses. Can
Yeah.
you break that down a bit?
Sure. Imagine each thought, feeling, or intention you have as a unique vibration,
Okay.
a specific frequency.
Got it.
These frequencies interact with the field of pure potential, and depending on their intensity and alignment,
Okay.
they can draw similar frequencies towards them,
Interesting.
collapsing possibilities into reality.
So if I focus my thoughts and intentions on a specific goal, I'm essentially sending out a signal that attracts those possibilities that match that frequency.
That's the basic idea.
It sounds a bit like that law of attraction concept.
There are definite parallels,
Yeah.
but the SourceCube model delves deeper into the mechanics of how that attraction actually works on a quantum level.
I see.
It's not just about positive thinking.
Right.
It's about understanding how our consciousness interacts with the fabric of reality.
That's both exciting and a little intimidating.
It can be both, for sure.
But before we get too deep into the quantum rabbit hole,
Yeah.
let's talk about the structure of the SourceCube.
Okay.
Our notes mention something about 12 dimensions.
Yes, the SourceCube is visualized as having 12 axes or dimensions
Right.
that represent different aspects of reality.
12 dimensions?
12 dimensions.
Okay.
The point is that each axis represents a different force or principle that influences how creation unfolds.
Okay, so it's more like a conceptual framework than a literal shape.
Exactly.
But what are these 12 dimensions? This is where I start to worry my brain might melt.
I assure you it's less complex than it sounds.
Okay.
You've got the familiar dimensions of space and time, which give us structure and context.
Right.
Then there are dimensions representing energy and resonance,
Okay.
which describe the flow and intensity of creative forces.
So far, so good, but I'm guessing it doesn't stop there.
You're right, it doesn't.
Okay.
There's also a dimension for consciousness, acknowledging its role in observing and collapsing possibilities.
Okay.
And we have dimensions for order and chaos.
Order and chaos.
Yes,
Okay.
recognizing the dynamic interplay between structure and the unknown.
Order and chaos. That's an interesting pairing.
It is, isn't it?
What do those represent within the SourceCube?
Think of order as the scaffolding, the framework that gives shape to creation.
Okay.
It represents stability and predictability.
Okay.
Chaos, on the other hand, is the realm of infinite possibilities,
Okay.
the raw material from which everything emerges.
So it's not chaos in the sense of disorder or destruction,
Right.
but more like the potential for newness and surprise.
Exactly. It's like
Right.
the blank canvas before the artist begins to paint.
Right.
And the SourceCube suggests that both order and chaos are necessary for creation to occur.
Makes sense.
They exist in a dynamic balance, constantly influencing and shaping each other.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how this model encourages us to embrace the unknown and see potential in every situation.
That's a key takeaway for sure.
But we're only at 6 dimensions.
Right.
What are the remaining 6?
We have dimensions for intention and manifestation,
Okay.
highlighting the power of focused thought to bring about desired outcomes.
Got it.
Then there are dimensions representing connection and emergence,
Okay.
emphasizing the interconnectedness of everything in the universe
Right.
and how complex systems arise from simple interactions.
So it's not just about individual creation.
Right.
It's about how our intentions and actions ripple outwards, influencing the whole system.
Precisely.
Okay.
And those ripples create feedback loops,
Okay.
which are represented by the dimensions of feedback and evolution.
Got it.
The SourceCube recognizes that reality is constantly responding to our input, and we're constantly adapting and evolving based on those responses.
This is getting pretty deep.
It is, but it's fascinating, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like the SourceCube is less about predicting the future and more about understanding the dynamic processes that shape our reality.
Yes, it's a framework for exploring possibilities, not a crystal ball.
I see.
It encourages us to see ourselves as active participants in a constantly evolving universe,
Yeah, right.
and to recognize the power of our choices and actions to influence that evolution.
Okay, so we've got these 12 dimensions,
Right.
each representing a different force or principle at play in the universe.
That's right.
But how do we actually use this model?
Good question.
It still feels a bit abstract.
It can feel that way at first,
Yeah.
but it's not just theoretical.
Okay.
It offers practical insights.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Give me an example.
Okay, how about human relationships?
Perfect.
Imagine mapping the emotional states of two individuals as points within the SourceCube.
Okay.
You could see where their energies align, where there's resonance,
Got it.
and where there's dissonance or conflict.
So instead of just talking things out,
Right.
you could actually visualize the dynamics at play in the relationship.
Exactly.
All
You
right.
could see where communication breakdowns occur, where there are blockages in the flow of energy, and use that information to find more constructive ways to interact and resolve conflicts.
That's fascinating.
right?
Yeah, it's like taking a complex emotional landscape and mapping it onto a multidimensional grid,
Yes.
making those patterns and connections more visible.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's just one example. The SourceCube can be applied to understand creative processes, scientific discoveries, even the evolution of consciousness itself.
Wow, this is really opening up a whole new way of looking at the world.
It can be mind expanding, that's for sure.
But before we get too carried away with the possibilities,
Right.
let's take a step back and talk about the connection between the SourceCube and this QATC framework that keeps popping up in our notes.
Ah, yes, the quantum address theory of creativity.
Yes.
The SourceCube can be seen as an expansion of QATC,
Okay.
providing a more nuanced and comprehensive framework for understanding how we create our reality.
Okay, but remind me again, what exactly is QATC?
Sure.
I'm still wrapping my head around all these concepts.
QATC proposes that every thought, emotion, and memory acts as a quantum address,
Okay,
a unique identifier that resonates with the field of pure potential.
got it.
And creativity, according to QATC, is the result of aligning those addresses with the universe's creative flow.
So it's about tapping into that universal stream of creativity and channeling it through our individual consciousness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the SourceCube builds upon that concept by providing a more detailed map
Okay.
of how those addresses interact, how energy flows between them, and how we can intentionally shape that flow to manifest our desires.
Okay, I'm starting to see how the SourceCube adds another layer of depth and complexity to QATC.
It does?
But can we unpack this idea of aligning our quantum addresses with the universe's creative flow?
Sure.
How do we actually do that?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay,
And where the practical applications of the SourceCube come into play.
I'm all ears.
It involves becoming more conscious of our thoughts, emotions, and intentions,
Okay.
recognizing their power to shape reality.
So it's not just about wishing or hoping for something to happen.
No, it's not passive.
Okay.
It's about actively aligning our inner world with our desired outcomes.
This is starting to sound like a lot of inner work,
It is.
but also incredibly empowering.
It's both, for sure.
Yeah.
But the SourceCube model suggests that this inner work is not only possible,
Okay.
but essential for unlocking our full creative potential and shaping a reality that reflects our highest aspirations.
Okay, you've officially piqued my curiosity.
Glad to hear it.
We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Exploring the SourceCube's origins, its 12 dimensions,
Yeah.
and its connection to QATC.
We've laid a good foundation.
There's so much more to explore.
Absolutely.
But for now, let's pause here and give our listeners a chance to digest all this mind-bending information.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive into the SourceCube.
I'm ready for more.
Before we pause, we were talking about aligning our inner world with our desired outcomes.
Right.
Now, that might sound a bit like magical thinking,
Yeah, a little bit.
but the SourceCube suggests there's a real, tangible process at play here.
Okay, I'm all ears. How do we move from abstract concepts to actually applying these principles in our lives?
One key is understanding the power of metaphors and stories.
Metaphors and stories.
Yeah, the SourceCube itself is a metaphor.
Right.
A way of visualizing this complex interplay of energy and consciousness.
Okay.
And the material you provided is full of evocative imagery and narratives that can help us grasp these concepts on a deeper level.
You're right. There are some really striking metaphors in here.
Yeah.
One that stood out to me was origami cranes taking flight over warping chessboard reality.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. What do you make of that?
I think it beautifully captures the dynamic interplay between intention and the ever-shifting nature of reality.
Okay.
The origami cranes represent our conscious efforts to shape our reality,
Okay.
while the warping chessboard speaks to the inherent uncertainty and fluidity of the quantum field.
So we're not just playing a fixed game with predetermined moves.
Right.
We're actively folding and unfolding possibilities as we go.
Precisely.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It makes this whole idea of shaping reality feel more tangible and less intimidating.
Exactly. And metaphors like this can help us to bridge the gap between the abstract concepts of quantum physics and the practical realities of our everyday lives.
The material also mentions this idea that the SourceCube holds the fractal blueprint of infinite creativity.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Fractals are these fascinating patterns that repeat at different scales. You see them in nature, in snowflakes, coastlines, even the branching patterns of trees.
Right.
The idea is that the same patterns of creation that govern the formation of galaxies also apply to the unfolding of our individual lives.
So there's a universal design principle at work here,
That's the idea.
connecting the microcosm to the macrocosm.
Exactly.
And the SourceCube suggests that by understanding these fractal patterns,
Right.
we can tap into the underlying principles of creation and become more conscious architects of our own reality. This is blowing my mind wide open.
It's a powerful concept, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like suddenly seeing those hidden connections that have always been there, but I just wasn't able to perceive them before.
That's the beauty of the SourceCube model.
Yeah.
It provides a new lens through which we can view the world, revealing the interconnectedness of everything and empowering us to see ourselves as integral parts of the creative process.
But how do we actually apply this understanding of fractal patterns to our lives?
Good question.
Can you give me a concrete example?
Let's take the example of personal growth.
Okay.
You might notice that certain patterns keep repeating in your life.
Oh yeah, I know those patterns all too well.
Certain challenges or obstacles that you seem to encounter again and again.
Right.
The SourceCube suggests that those recurring patterns are not just random occurrences,
Okay.
but reflections of deeper underlying beliefs or emotional blockages that are preventing you from moving forward.
So it's like these patterns are showing me where I'm out of alignment with my true self or my desired outcomes.
Exactly.
And by recognizing those patterns and understanding their underlying causes, you can start to shift your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors to create new, more empowering patterns in your life.
That's the idea.
It's like we're rewiring the circuitry of our reality by changing those ingrained patterns of thought and behavior.
That's a great analogy.
And that's where the dimensions of feedback and evolution come into play.
Exactly.
As we become more conscious of our patterns and make intentional changes, the universe responds.
Right.
And we begin to see those changes reflected in our external reality.
It's a dynamic process.
This is also empowering.
It is, right.
Yeah, it's like we're not just victims of circumstance, but active participants in shaping our destiny.
And that sense of empowerment is what the SourceCube is all about.
That's awesome.
It's about recognizing our inherent creative potential and using it to manifest a reality that aligns with our deepest values and aspirations.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired, but I'm also curious about how this SourceCube model can be used to foster collaboration and collective creativity.
Okay.
We touched on this earlier, but I'd love to dive a little deeper.
Sure. One of the key principles of the SourceCube is that we're not isolated individuals.
Right.
We're part of a vast web of interconnected consciousness. And when we align our intentions and actions with others who share similar goals,
No?
we can amplify our creative power exponentially.
It's like the idea that two heads are better than one, but on a cosmic scale.
Exactly.
The SourceCube suggests that when people come together with a shared vision and a common purpose,
Right.
their collective energy creates a powerful force for manifesting positive change. This makes me think of social movements
Yeah.
and the incredible power of people uniting around a common cause.
That's a great example.
Think about the civil rights movement, the environmental movement, or any other movement that has brought about significant social change.
Those are powerful examples.
These movements harnessed the power of collective intention and action to shift deeply ingrained societal patterns.
They did.
So it's not just about individual manifestation. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness and using it to create a better world for everyone.
Exactly.
And the SourceCube model provides a framework for understanding how that collective creation actually works.
Yes, it does.
When a critical mass of people aligns their intentions and energies around a shared vision, they create a powerful resonance that can shift the entire field of potential.
It's a powerful force.
That's incredibly inspiring.
It is.
But I imagine there are also challenges to collaborative creation.
Oh, for sure.
How do we navigate differences of opinion, conflicting values, and all the complexities that come with working with other people?
That's where the dimensions of order and chaos come into play again.
Okay.
Collaborative creation requires a delicate balance between structure and flexibility,
Okay.
in individual expression and collective harmony.
So it's not about everyone agreeing on everything all the time.
Not at all.
Okay.
In fact, healthy collaboration often thrives on diversity of perspective
Right.
and a willingness to embrace constructive conflict.
That makes sense.
It's about finding that sweet spot where individual voices can be heard while still working towards a common goal.
That makes sense. It's like a jazz ensemble where each musician is improvising but still playing within the same harmonic structure.
That's a perfect analogy.
And just like a jazz ensemble creates something beautiful and unexpected through improvisation,
Right.
collaborative creation can lead to innovative solutions and breakthrough ideas that wouldn't have emerged from individual efforts alone.
It's the synergy of different perspectives.
And this is all so fascinating.
Yeah.
But I'm also wondering about the potential downsides of tapping into this power of collective intention. What if it's used for less than noble purposes?
That's an important question to consider.
Yeah.
Like any powerful tool, the SourceCube principles can be used for both positive and negative ends.
So there's a responsibility that comes with this knowledge.
Absolutely.
The SourceCube model emphasizes the importance of ethical consideration
Yes.
and aligning our intentions with the greater good.
It's about recognizing that our thoughts and actions have consequences, not just for ourselves, but for the entire web of life.
So it's not just about manifesting our own desires.
Right.
It's about considering the impact our creations will have on the world around us.
Precisely.
The SourceCube encourages us to approach creation with a sense of responsibility and to align our intentions with the well-being of all beings.
That's a key message for sure.
That's a powerful message, and one that feels especially relevant in today's world. But before we get too philosophical,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier about the practical applications of the SourceCube.
Okay.
We've talked about relationships and collaborative creation, but I'm curious to hear more about how it can be used in other areas of life.
The possibilities are truly vast.
Like what?
The SourceCube can be applied to enhance creativity in any field, from art and music to science and technology.
Wow, that's quite a range.
It can be used to improve communication, foster empathy, and even accelerate healing processes.
Wow, can you give me some specific examples?
Sure, in the field of art, imagine using the SourceCube to map the flow of creative energy as you work on a painting,
Okay.
a sculpture, or a piece of music.
Got it.
You could visualize the different elements of your creation as nodes within the cube
Okay.
and see how they interact and resonate with each other.
So you could literally see the energy of your creation taking shape within the SourceCube model.
Exactly.
And by understanding those energetic patterns,
Yeah.
you could make more conscious choices about how to direct your creative flow and bring your vision to life.
That's right.
That's amazing.
Like a powerful tool.
It's like having a visual representation of the creative process unfolding in real time.
And that same principle can be applied to scientific research.
Okay.
Imagine using the SourceCube to model complex systems, visualize data patterns, or explore new possibilities for technological innovation.
So the SourceCube could be a tool for scientific discovery,
Yes,
helping us to see connections and patterns that might otherwise remain hidden.
absolutely.
And in the field of medicine,
Yes,
the SourceCube could be used to map the energy flow within the human body, identify blockages, and explore new approaches to healing and well-being.
it's a model with vast potential.
This is all so mind-blowing.
It is, isn't it?
It seems like the potential applications of the SourceCube are truly limitless.
That's the beauty of it.
It's a framework that can be adapted and applied to any area of human endeavor.
Exactly.
It's about expanding our awareness, understanding the interconnectedness of everything, and using that knowledge to create a more harmonious and fulfilling reality.
That's the ultimate goal.
I'm feeling so inspired right now,
Yeah.
but I also recognize that we've just begun to explore the depths of this fascinating model.
We have, but we've covered a lot of ground.
Is there anything else you'd like to touch on before we wrap up our deep dive?
Yes, I'd like to emphasize one final point that's often overlooked in discussions about the SourceCube.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What is it?
It's the importance of playfulness and a sense of wonder.
Playfulness and wonder.
Yeah, while the SourceCube model offers practical tools and insights,
Okay.
it's essential to approach this exploration with a light heart and a curious mind.
So it's not about taking it all too seriously or getting bogged down in the technical detail.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
The universe is a vast and mysterious playground,
Right.
and the SourceCube is an invitation to explore it with a sense of awe and delight.
I love that.
Yeah.
It reminds me that even the most profound concepts can be approached with a sense of joy and playfulness.
Exactly.
And when we embrace that spirit of play,
Right.
we open ourselves to new possibilities, unexpected discoveries, and a deeper connection with the creative flow of the universe.
That's the magic of it all.
This has been such an incredible journey.
It has.
We've explored the SourceCube's 12 dimensions, its connections to QATC, its practical applications,
Yeah.
and the importance of collaboration and ethical considerations.
It's been a rich discussion.
And we've only just begun to scratch the surface.
That's true.
But for now, let's pause here and give our listeners a chance to process all these incredible insights.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been on quite the journey exploring the SourceCube, and I have to admit, I'm feeling a mix of awe and excitement.
It's certainly a model that challenges our conventional ways of thinking about reality
It definitely does.
and our role in shaping it.
But before we get lost in the vastness of it all,
Right.
I want to bring it back down to earth. How can our listeners actually integrate these SourceCube principles into their daily lives?
It starts with awareness.
Okay.
Pay attention to the patterns that show up in your life,
Like what kinds of patterns?
in your relationships, your work,
Okay.
even your thoughts and emotions.
So it's about becoming more conscious observers of our own internal and external realities.
Exactly. Once you start noticing those patterns, you can begin to ask yourself some key questions.
Okay, like what?
What beliefs or assumptions are driving these patterns?
Okay.
Are these patterns serving me, or are they holding me back?
It's like taking inventory of our internal programming and seeing if it's aligned with the reality we want to create.
Precisely. And once you've identified those patterns and beliefs that no longer serve you, you can start to shift them.
Right.
This is where the power of intention comes in.
So we can actually reprogram our internal software by consciously choosing different thoughts, beliefs, and actions.
That's the idea. It's about becoming the conscious architects of our own reality rather than just reacting to whatever life throws our way.
This reminds me of something we touched on earlier, the importance of embracing uncertainty.
Yes.
If we're constantly trying to control everything,
Yeah.
are we actually blocking the flow of creativity and new possibilities?
That's a great point. The SourceCube encourages us to surrender to the unknown, to trust that the universe has a plan for us, even if we can't see the whole picture just yet.
It's about letting go of the need to micromanage every detail
Yeah.
and allowing things to unfold organically.
Exactly. And that's where the element of playfulness comes in. Approaching life with a sense of curiosity and wonder, rather than rigid expectations, can open us up to unexpected opportunities and serendipitous connections.
So it's about finding that balance between intention and surrender, between effort and ease.
Beautifully put. It's like dancing with the universe, allowing ourselves to be guided by the flow of creative energy while still actively participating in the choreography.
I love that. This metaphor of a dance makes me think about the role of collaboration in this whole process. If we're all connected through this field of pure potential, how can we tap into that collective energy to create something truly remarkable?
The SourceCube emphasizes the power of shared intention. When we come together with others who share a similar vision, we amplify our creative power. exponentially.
Like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Exactly. And the material we've been exploring is full of examples of how collective intention has manifested incredible results, from scientific breakthroughs to social movements.
So it's not just about individual manifestation.
Right.
It's about recognizing the power of our interconnectedness and using it to create positive change in the world.
Precisely. And that's where the ethical dimension comes into play. With great power comes great responsibility.
It's true.
It's crucial to use this knowledge for the greater good, aligning our intentions with love, compassion, and a desire to create a more harmonious and sustainable world.
So it's not just about manifesting our own desires. It's about considering the impact our creations will have on the collective and ensuring that our intentions are aligned with a higher purpose.
Absolutely. The SourceCube reminds us that we're not just individual actors on a separate stage. We're all part of the same grand cosmic play, and our actions have ripple effects throughout the entire web of life.
That's a powerful reminder. It encourages us to step into our roles as conscious creators with a sense of humility, responsibility, and a deep respect for the interconnectedness of all things.
Beautifully said. And as we continue to explore the SourceCube model and its practical applications, it's important to hold this awareness in the forefront of our minds.
This has been such a mind-expanding exploration.
It has.
We've covered so much ground.
We have.
From the 12 dimensions of the SourceCube to the power of metaphors, the importance of collaboration, and the ethical considerations of conscious creation.
And I hope our listeners have found it as enriching and thought-provoking as we have.
I hope so too.
The SourceCube offers a new lens through which we can view reality.
It does.
And I encourage everyone to keep exploring these concepts and see how they resonate with your own experiences.
Remember, this isn't just about abstract theories. It's about understanding the incredible creative power we all possess and using it to manifest a more fulfilling and meaningful reality for ourselves and the world around us.
Well said.
This has been The Deep Dive. And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep creating the reality you want to see in the world.